أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 118. In the following ayat, what is mentioned is as to how the people respond now to Nuh alayhi salam. Up until now, what have we read? How Nuh alayhi salam delivered the message to them, the objections they made, and the answers that Nuh alayhi salam gave to their objections. In the following ayat, again, the opposition of people is mentioned. We will see this constant back and forth. And this is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ was going through at this time when this surah was revealed. Intense opposition and argumentation and dispute from the side of the mushrikeen of Makkah. And this example has been given, why? To comfort the Prophet ﷺ and also to guide him. لِنُثَبِّتَ بِهِ فُؤَادَكَ, so that we can strengthen your heart with it. Because you may wonder, we just read the story of Nuh alayhi salam. Why is it being mentioned again? If you notice, other details are being mentioned. Because the point is not the story. The point is the lessons that can be learned. قَالُوا يَا نُوحُ, they said, the people of Nuh alayhi salam, they responded to him, that يَا نُوحُ, O Nuh, قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا, you have disputed with us. Certainly you have argued with us. فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا, and you have been very frequent in dispute with us. فَأْتِنَا, so bring us, بِمَا تَعِدُنَا, with that which you threaten us with, إِن كُنْتَ مِنَ الصَّادِقِينَ, if you are of those who are truthful. We see that Nuh alayhi salam, he invited his people to worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Why? Because that is the purpose of the creation of human beings. However, the people did not respond to him positively. Instead, what did they do? They presented several excuses, several objections. And Nuh alayhi salam refuted all of their objections. When they said that the people who are following you, they are very poor, they're not high in their status, which shows that what you're saying is not true, Nuh alayhi salam refuted that claim as well. So he refuted all of their claims. So, in other words, the people of Nuh alayhi salam were completely defeated when it came to argument. So when they were defeated and they didn't have anything else to say, what did they say? قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا, you have argued a lot with us. The fact is that Nuh alayhi salam was not arguing with them. What was he doing? Any objection, any question they were asking, he was giving them a response to that. He was only refuting their false objections. But they call this argument. قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا. The word jadalta is from the root letters Jim, Dal, Lam. From the word jidal. And jidal is to argue, to debate. And basically it is used for arguing excessively. Or arguing continuously. Or arguing with a lot of shiddah. And basically the word jidal is from the word jadal, which is used for a rope. Jadaltul habl is I made a rope, meaning I coiled it together. For example, if you ever notice a rope, if you look at it carefully, you will notice that there are several strands, right? Several strands of fiber, and they're all intertwined. So jadala is to intertwine all of them, to lock them up, to coil them one on top of the other. And this is what happens in an argument. That one person, he says one thing, the other refutes it. And then he says another thing, and then the other refutes it. And this process, it continues for a long time. If you ever try to unravel a rope, it'll take you a very long time. It's almost endless. So similarly, jidal is used for an argument in which both parties are trying to overcome one another. And it's a long, endless, excessive argument. So قَدْ جَادَلْتَنَا, you have argued with us. فَأَكْثَرْتَ, أَكْثَرْتَ from the root letters كَافْ ثَا رَا, كَثْرَ, which means abundance. So فَأَكْثَرْتَ, meaning you have increased جِدَالَنَا, arguing with us. What does it mean by this? فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا. First of all, it means it's been such a long time. How long did Nuh alayhi salam convey the message to his people? 900 years plus. So just imagine, فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا, it's been a very long time. It's been too long. It's been ages. Forget about it now. Or فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا means that you have brought many arguments. You have brought many arguments. You may have seen that Nuh alayhi salam responded to them very forcefully. Any objection that they presented, Nuh alayhi salam had a response to it, and he gave it with a lot of force. So فَأَكْثَرْتَ جِدَالَنَا, you have brought many arguments. فَأْتِنَا, so bring us, come to us, بِمَا تَعِدُنَا, with that which you threaten us with. What is it that he was threatening them with? The punishment of Allah if they continue to do shirk. As we learned earlier, that إِنِّي لَكُم مِّنْهُ نَذِيرٌ مُبِينٌ. And إِنِّي أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ عَذَابَ يَوْمٍ أَلِيمٍ. So he gave the warning to them very clearly. So they said, we're not going to believe in you. We've had enough. We don't want to argue with you anymore. So bring us the punishment if you really have it, if you're really truthful in your claim that if we don't believe, we're going to get punished. Why were they saying this? Bring the punishment. Out of mockery, out of denial. And they didn't want to believe at all. It wasn't that they literally wanted the punishment to descend upon them. They didn't believe in it. They didn't take it seriously. Because if they did, they would never demand such a thing. So they said, bring us a punishment if you're truthful. Qala, he said. Who said? Nuh alayhi salam responded to them again. Anything they said, Nuh alayhi salam had a response. So he said, إِنَّمَا يَأْتِيكُمْ, indeed he will bring you. Bihi, with it, Allahu Allah. Meaning only Allah can bring it to you. How do we get the meaning of only? From the word innama. And what does innama mean? Indeed, the reality is this, nothing but this. So indeed, only Allah can bring you the punishment, meaning I cannot bring it, only Allah can bring it. In sha'a, if He wills. Meaning if He wills to bring the punishment to you by hastening it or by delaying it, it's up to Him. Only He can bring it. In sha'a, if He wills to bring it, only He can bring it. I cannot bring it. But remember that when the punishment of Allah will come, then وَمَا أَنْتُمْ بِمُعْجِزِينَ, then you cannot at all cause Him any failure. Mu'jizeen, plural of mu'jiz, one who causes failure to the other. So you cannot at all cause failure to the plan of Allah. Which plan of Allah? His plan to punish you. So when the punishment comes, in other words, you will not be able to escape. You will not be able to save yourselves. Again, He is giving them a warning. And this is the sincerity, the well-wishing of the messenger. That no matter how much people deny Him, He does not take it personally. You see, it's not a personal battle. That because you have denied me, therefore I'm going to go against you, I'm going to oppose you now. And regardless of how you are, I'm never going to think good about you. No. Even at this point, when they ask Him to bring the punishment, look at His sincerity. He's warning them that only Allah can bring it whenever He wills, and remember that when it comes, you will not be able to save yourselves. So do something before the punishment comes. You don't have the power to resist it. And He continues that وَلَا يَنْفَعُكُمْ نُصْحِي, and my advice will not benefit you. وَلَا يَنْفَعُكُمْ, يَنْفَعُ from the root letters, nun, fa, ain, naf', which is to benefit. And nushi, nush, meaning advice, my counsel, my well-wishing. Nuh alayhi salam was a sincere well-wisher to them, which is why he advised them, which is why he warned them, which is why he answered their questions and their objections. So he says, all of this nush, my sincere advice, my warning, my sincere attitude towards you, is not going to benefit you. In aradtu, even if I wanted, even if I intended, an ansaha lakum, that I should advise you. Meaning, even if I want the very best for you, even if I want the very best for you, and with that feeling I advise you, my advice is not going to benefit you. It will not benefit you. In kana Allahu yuridu an yughwiyakum, if Allah should intend to put you in error. If Allah should intend to put you in error, then no matter how badly I want you to be guided, my desire, my well-wishing is not going to benefit you. Isn't it that so many times you advise someone, you tell them, and you want good for them, but they just don't get it. They don't get it at all. You cry before them. You share your feelings before them. You warn them. You do it in a happy way, in a sad way, through tears, different ways, but they don't get it. They don't understand. So this is exactly what he's saying over here, that no matter how badly I want hidayah for you, no matter how badly I want to advise you, my advice is not going to benefit you when? If Allah intends to put you in error. And when does that happen? When a person wants error for himself. Because Allah does not force misguidance on anyone. What happens? As we have learned earlier, that when a person desires misguidance, then that is what he will be given. Allah does not force it on someone. And remember the meaning of the word yughwiyakum from the root letters? Ghain, ya, ghay. And what does ghay mean? Misguidance. According to others, the root is ghain wawiya, from ghawaya, which is also to go astray, to become hopeless. Basically, the word ighwa is used in three ways. First of all, it gives the meaning of to lead someone astray from the right course. What does it mean? To lead someone astray from the right course, to misguide someone, to mislead someone. Somebody was going on the right way, and you tell them, no, what you're doing is wrong, come on this way. This is what? Ighwa. Secondly, the word ighwa is also used for giving someone an instruction, giving someone a command, whose disobedience becomes a cause of their misguidance. Whose disobedience becomes a cause of their misguidance. And remember, Iblis, he said this, that فَبِمَا أَغْوَيْتَنِي, you have led me astray. How? That you gave me a command, I didn't obey, and because of that, I have become misguided. I have gone into error. So ighwa is also used for giving someone a command, an instruction, whose disobedience becomes a cause of their misguidance. Thirdly, the word ighwa is also to punish someone for the wrong that they are doing, to punish someone for the error that they are in. And how does that punishment come? With further error, with further misguidance. Like for example, a person wants to do something haram, and he does it. So the punishment comes, and what is that punishment? That a person is given more opportunity to do that haram. This is what ighwa is. That when a person is inclined towards wrong, and he does that wrong, and Allah punishes him how? By giving him more opportunity to do wrong. So, in kana Allahu yuridu an yughwiyakum, what is this ighwa referring to? That if He wishes to punish you for your dalala, for your misguidance, by increasing you in your misguidance, then what's going to happen? No matter how much I tell you, it's not going to make any sense to you, you're not going to accept it. Because Nuh a.s., he presented the truth to them. He presented it in several ways, through arguments. He called them in many different ways. But still, they weren't ready to accept. Why? Because they did not want to change. When they did not want to change, Allah punished them with further misguidance. So when you reach this point, then no matter what I tell you, it's not going to go in. It's not going to go into your heart. Huwa rabbukum. He is your Lord. وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. And to Him you all will be returned. So what do we learn in this ayah? That denying the messenger is not something small. Denying the messenger of Allah is not something trivial. But rather it's a big deal. Because when a person denies the messenger, in reality, who is he denying? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the one who denies Allah, then his chances of obtaining guidance are finished, are gone. They're over. In kana Allahu yuridu an yughwiyakum. Similarly, we also learn from this ayah that sometimes a person may try to advise someone, to make them do that which is good by telling them. However, they will not accept if they desire wrong for themselves. You cannot help them. You cannot force them. The change has to come from where? From within, from the heart. And if it doesn't come from there, then the advice of other people, the tears of other people, they don't make a difference. The change has to come from within, from inside the heart. Am yaquluna, or do they say, iftarahu, He has fabricated it. He has invented it. This ayah number 35 that you're reading, this ayah is a parenthetical sentence. What does it mean by that? A jumla mu'tarida. Basically, it is when a sentence which is not really in sequence with what was mentioned before and what is mentioned after is put in the middle. It's relevant to the context, but it's not really in sequence. It doesn't really come in the sequence of events. Like, for example, you're telling a story. What are you supposed to tell? What happened first, then what happened until the end of the story. You're going to mention one event after the other until you complete the story. A jumla mu'tarida is that you insert a sentence in the middle which is not really directly related to what is mentioned before and what is mentioned after. If you notice over here, the story of Nuh alayhi salam is being mentioned. That how Nuh alayhi salam presented the message to the people, what they said in return, and what he said in return. And now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, or do they say, who does they refer to? The mushrikeen of Makkah. That do they say that iftarahu, he has fabricated it? That Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has fabricated this incident, this story, or this Qur'an? Qul, say, meaning, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say to them, that in iftaraytuhu, if I have fabricated it, فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي, then upon me is my sin, وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ, and I am free of responsibility from that which you commit crimes. Meaning from the crimes that you commit, I have nothing to do with them. In other words, what is being said is that this story is not invented. It is not false. It is not a lie. Because just imagine, the Prophet ﷺ is reciting this to the people. They're listening. And you can imagine what might be going through the heads of people. Oh wow, what an interesting, what a detailed story he has invented. He has come up with. So just imagine these doubts, these thoughts that are going in the heads of people. And all of a sudden the Prophet ﷺ recites, أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَاهُ قُلْ إِنِ افْتَرَيْتُهُ فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. And this shows to us that the Qur'an is actually kalam. It's the speech of Allah. It's the word of Allah. Because when you're talking, then what happens? You're telling a story, but in the middle, what do? You explain a point. You refer to something else. This shows that the Qur'an is a kalam of Allah. It's the speech of Allah. It's the word of Allah. Because in the middle, lessons are being taught. This ayah has also been understood in another way. That أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَاهُ, they refers to the people of Nuh alayhi salam. That do they say that he invented this message of Tawheed, the fact that he was a prophet? Do they think that he has invented all of this? قُلْ, say, إِنِ افْتَرَيْتُهُ, meaning Nuh alayhi salam was commanded to say, that if I have fabricated this, then فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي, then upon me is my sin, وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ, and I have nothing to do with whatever crimes that you commit. فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي, the word ijram is from the root letters, Jim, Ra, Mim. Ijram. And ijram is basically used for the consequence of a jurm, crime. The consequence of a crime that has been committed. So I will suffer the consequences of my crime that I have committed. And what's that crime in your eyes? That I have fabricated this. But remember that you will also suffer the consequences of the crimes that you are committing. وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ, and I am innocent of them. Meaning I am not committing the crimes that you're committing. What crimes were they committing? Of shirk, of denial, of mocking at the messenger, of belittling the people, arrogance, calling the messenger a liar. These are crimes that they were committing. So I am innocent of these crimes, meaning I am not your partner in these crimes at all. I'm not your partner at all. So when the punishment comes, who will it descend upon? Me or you? You. It will not come upon me. So فَعَلَيَّ إِجْرَامِي وَأَنَا بَرِيءٌ مِمَّا تُجْرِمُونَ. So in this ayah, what is being emphasized? That this story is not invented. It is not fabricated falsely. Because the Prophet ﷺ knew better about the punishment of the one who lies against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we have learned earlier, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنِ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. Such a person is the greatest unjust person. And أُولَٰئِكَ يُعْرَضُونَ عَلَى رَبِّهِمْ. Such people will be presented before their Lord. The Prophet ﷺ knew better of the consequence of the one who invents lies against Allah. So he would never do such a thing. But we see that the people, they have always denied the prophethood of the messenger, and at the same time they have also denied the message that the Prophet brought. They have denied both things. The messenger as well as the message. And over here, exactly that is being said. That they denied the messenger, but at the same time they said that he has fabricated his message. Meaning they were denying the message. And to this the messenger is supposed to say that if I have done that, I am blameworthy for it. But look at what you are doing. Look at what you are doing. And many times this happens with people, that they become focused with the faults of other people, and they completely forget about the actions that they themselves are doing. They don't reflect upon them. They don't want other people to tell them, other people to advise them, other people to stop them. They don't want that at all. And at the same time, they will not reflect on their own ways. If somebody is pointing out their mistakes, they will attack them back. That look, you have these mistakes as well. But the fact is that each person should reflect on his own actions. Remember that when you're pointing at someone with one finger, then the rest of the 4 fingers are pointing towards you. So each person must reflect on what he is doing. So Nuh a.s. says that I am responsible for my crime, and you would be responsible for your crimes. So don't just keep saying that I am a fabricator, I'm an inventor, I'm a liar. Look at the actions that you're doing. Look at your ways. Look what you're doing. وَأُوحِيَ إِلَى نُوحٍ. And it was revealed to Nuh a.s. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed him that أَنَّهُ, indeed he, لَن يُؤْمِنَ مِنْ قَوْمِكَ. Never will he believe from your people. From now on, لَن يُؤْمِنَ. He's never going to believe. مِنْ قَوْمِكَ, from your people. إِلَّا, except man who قَدْ already آمَنَ, he believed. From this point onwards, no one is going to believe in you except those people who had already believed in you. They're going to remain believers. However, those people who have not believed as of yet, they're not going to believe at all. And Nuh a.s. had been giving the message to them for over 900 years, for so long, in so many different ways. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him that that's it. Your mission has been accomplished. Whoever was supposed to believe has believed. And whoever is not going to believe, they're not going to believe now. فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ. So do not be distressed. بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. Because of what they have been doing. Don't be sad, don't be sorrowful over what these people have been doing. Tabta'is is from the root letters Ba, Hamza, Sin. Bi'sa. What does bi'sa mean? Bi's basically gives the meaning of difficulty, hardship, dislike. When you go through something that is hard, when you go through something that is very difficult, do you become sad? You become tired, but at the same time you also become sad. Hardship brings sadness. So tabta'is, ibti'az, is to become sad. It is to feel sad, to be miserable, to be sorrowful on finding something that is displeasing and unbearable. So when a person comes across something that is very upsetting, very difficult, it's unbearable, what happens? As a natural reaction, he becomes sad. So فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ. Don't be sad. Don't be sorrowful. بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. Because of what they have been doing. What does it mean by this? That now these people are not going to believe. And what does that mean? That the punishment is going to come very soon. Now you don't be sad over the actions that these people have been doing. Don't grieve over them. Don't be concerned with their affair. You did your job. You did your best. You told them what you were supposed to. If they don't believe, it's their fault. So you don't be sad over their end, over their consequence. And this again reflects the soft-heartedness, the well-wishing of the da'i. of the one who is calling people to Allah. That he must have a soft heart. Because unless and until a person has a soft heart, a compassionate heart, a gentle heart, he cannot convey the message to the people. We learned about the Prophet ﷺ as well. That he is Ra'ufur Rahim, Azizun alayhi, Harisun alaykum. So he was very soft-hearted, he was very gentle, he was very compassionate when it comes to dealing with people. This is why he was able to convey the message. For example, when you're dealing with a child, a little baby, it's possible that the child is screaming a lot, is crying a lot, is yelling, and maybe in its movement it manages to scratch you, it manages to hurt you. But are you going to take it personally? That, oh my God, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back? No, you don't do that. You realize that a child is a child. Your compassion, your love is more than the anger that you may feel at the moment because of what the child has done. And that compassion is going to enable you to do what you're supposed to do. And if you don't have that compassion, then will you be able to help the child? Not at all. You will not be able to help. Instead, you're going to harm the child. Similarly, the one who calls people to Allah must have a heart that is very compassionate. Because if he does not have that heart, he will not be able to convey the message. So Nuh a.s. is being told that you have done your best, you have done your job. If still people don't believe and now they're being punished for their wrong, don't be sad. Because now if you become sad, you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to harm yourself. And the Prophet ﷺ was also told the same thing. That فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ, perhaps you would kill yourself out of grief that they're not believing. Because you know what awaits them if they don't believe. So we see that a person must have compassion, and this compassion is what drives him to convey the message to people, to tolerate their harm. However, it should not make him sad. It should not make him sad to the point that he is harming himself. Because if a person becomes sad, then that is going to disable him from progressing further. So فَلَا تَبْتَئِسْ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. We learn in Surah Nuh, ayah 5 to 9, how Nuh a.s. conveyed the message to the people. That قَالَ, he said, Rabbi, O my Lord, إِنِّي دَعَوْتُ قَوْمِي, indeed I invited my people, how? لَيْلًا وَنَهَارًا, night and day. I called my people at night and at daytime. 24 hours I was calling my people. فَلَمْ يَزِدُهُمْ دُعَائِي إِلَّا فِرَارًا. But my invitation increased them not except in flight. The more I invited them, the more they avoided me, the more they ran away from me. وَإِنِّي كُلَّمَا دَعَوْتُهُمْ لِتَغْفِرَ لَهُمْ جَعَلُوا أَصَابِعَهُمْ فِي آذَانِهِمْ وَاسْتَغْشَوْا ثِيَابَهُمْ وَأَصَرُّوا وَاسْتَكْبَرُوا اسْتِكْبَارًا. And indeed, every time I invited them, that you may forgive them, what did they do? They put their fingers in their ears, and they covered themselves with their garments, and they persisted and were arrogant with great arrogance. ثُمَّ إِنِّي دَعَوْتُهُمْ جِهَارًا. Then I invited them publicly. Just imagine he was calling them, they would put their fingers in their ears. What did he do? إِنِّي دَعَوْتُهُمْ جِهَارًا. I called out to them loudly, so that even if they had plugged their fingers, perhaps they would be able to hear something when I would call out to them loudly. ثُمَّ إِنِّي أَعْلَنْتُ لَهُمْ وَأَسْرَرْتُ لَهُمْ إِسْرَارًا. And then I invited them publicly, and then I announced them and also confided to them secretly. So he conveyed the message in different ways. He used different techniques. And this is what happens when a person really has compassion in his heart for the other. When he really wants good for the other. That he will find some way or the other to get the message across. However, Nuh a.s. is told over here that these people are not going to believe. Despite your repeated da'wah to them, and despite your constantly calling them, despite your using different techniques, they're not going to believe anymore. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided now to inflict His punishment upon them.